Hi, it's Tintin the Navigator, and I'm here today with.
Radx, the one from 72, the ultra neutral, and also known as the one and only Alcor Star Child. Yes, I have a lot there.
Do you want
Next
to?
year, if we're here next year, I'll have another one.
What about the Scorpion? Right, the Scorpion. The Did you already say the one from 7-2? Okay.
Yeah. Radx, Radx, the one from 72, the ultra neutral, the one and only Alcor Star Child.
There you go.
I gotta add a name on every year, another new title.
You do. I can't. I'm gonna just stick to 10-10, I think.
Well, it's evolution. My name
It's
is
evolution.
evolving.
You are ever evolving, right?
My
Just
name
keep
is
going.
evolving.
All right.
Okay,
So
let's.
today,
Yep.
yeah, we're gonna talk about obviously the return of the Anunnaki here in the book that we are going through, the Anunnaki Final Warning to Earth and their return in 2022, the fifth edition. And this is about the last reading that I did, talking about how many other Anunnaki will be part of the return. I don't know if you want to talk about efficient energy systems of the Anunnaki, but we definitely want to go over the Stargate over Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And signs
So
before the return.
you went through pages 197 to 206, and
Mm-hmm.
when I heard that video that you did, I was like, I was completely floored. I'm like, I listened to it 6 times over and over and over because I'm like, this just cannot be possible. There's just too much here.
Mm-hmm.
And the topics that were in there that you were talking about, which was one was Zafta, which is black goop, by the way, guys, and we're going to talk about that the Anunnaki are using as a weapon. Um, the other was about the Stargate over Chicago, like you were saying, and then the Stargate over New York
Mm-hmm.
and signs of the Anunnaki return. So those are like the four main things that I was like, I'm like, what are the odds of this?
Yeah, because I know for me, once I got to the Stargate over Chicago, that was big.
Yeah.
The other parts were really important as well, but we can get into that a little bit more as the video goes along. So you did a video yesterday talking about alien prophecy and their return. So if anybody has time to go and listen to that video, I'll post it in the comments section and you can check it out. And then you can check out Rat's channel if you're not familiar with him and his work, or X, or Radx, or the Alcor Star Child, or the one from 7-2. All right.
We got to get you more names. You get 10
No,
the
no, no, I'm
Navigator.
good.
You got to evolve. You need more.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Alcor Star Sister.
Alcor Star Sister. That's true because
she's the one, the only Alcor Star Sister.
yeah, because remember we have this conversation because if people aren't familiar with Alcor, which if they follow you, they should be, there's Alcor A and Alcor B. And I think B is like the red dwarf star of Alcor A. And it just depends. I don't know. I just say whichever one you want to be is fine. I'll just be the one that you're not going to be.
Well, I think that, remember we were talking, I said, I think Alcor is a Stargate.
Yeah, absolutely.
More than I do think that it's actually a planet or whatever. I think that's how we come to this not galaxy, because there's multiple galaxies before you even get to the Alcor, but this universe, right? Like universes also have stargates the way planets have stargates, right? There's like people will say that they're black holes and stuff like that or whatever. So think of it in that way, guys. So it's a good possibility that the reason why my research and everything keeps taking me back to the Alcor and the Alcor star, because the humans haven't really seen what the Alcor star is. They don't know if it's a planet. They don't know what it is. They just know that it looks like it's a planet. It's a big bright light coming out of there. It could be a sun or whatever. And suns also, the sun above you could be a portal to another. That sun that we all see right now could be a portal to another universe, not galaxy, but an actual universe. How do you get from one universe to the other? Like if when we see, like when you look at and I don't really want to get into all that stuff, but when you look at the galaxies, the universe is made up of a bunch of galaxies. There's a whole bunch of galaxies in the universe, and then you go from one universe to another. So there's multiple universes out there that have billions of other galaxies, and in those billions of galaxies, there are billions of stars. Mm-hmm. So as if we take a ship going from one coastline to another coastline here on Earth, we have to take a ship going from this planet to another planet, to make it more simple for the people to understand. That's the difference between going from one Stargate going from one planet to the other versus a Stargate for going from one universe to another universe. It's like the difference between going, across the Atlantic Sea versus going from Earth to across the Black Sea of Earth mm-hmm. to Mars.
Yeah, when you said that the sun was a portal, it made me think of Black Hole Sun, which is mm-hmm. a song. And, if the sun were to open, obviously it would go black. And I don't,
that's what's happening right now. Mm-hmm. That's happening right now. There's if you guys haven't been paying attention, there has been big black spots on the sun that have been happening forever, but now there's like this. There was this gigantic like rip across the sun. So all this stuff that's happening right now that you guys are experiencing right now from the sun, it's because there's something happening on that sun. There was like this big tear, like a massive tear across the sun, mm-hmm. and it was just one big black line that just come ripping across that thing. And you know what? It's a good possibility something just entered from another universe, which mm-hmm. could possibly be the Anunnaki. That's how that may be how they get, from one universe to the other. They rip through these giant stars. That's just a massive amount of energy there. Just like there's energy that's fueling the laptops and the TVs and all that. That's all it is. It's just energy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Or it could be alive, which is another theory that we talked about.
It is
last week.
Its own being.
That the sun is its own being. It's alive. It's literally a living entity, and some beings on this planet and some alien beings may be able to actually communicate with the sun and actually be able to understand it, and the sun actually be excited that it can, that these beings are talking back and forth with it. Who knows? I don't know, but that's another possibility. The sun literally by itself could be a living entity, a living being.
Mm-hmm. Yep. A living being that brings life to this planet, helps bring life to this planet.
Mm-hmm. Life and death.
Yeah, life and death.
Yeah, it can kill, and it can it burns. Sometimes it gets so hot it burns, it scorches the earth,
mm-hmm.
right? And it destroys things. But as the phoenix is a fiery bird, that's what the phoenix does. It's for that rebirth, destruction, and birth. Okay, let's get to this chapter.
Yes.
Sorry. We completely went.
No, somebody out there is going to be like, I was thinking about that the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible. So, I mean, we know the earth is spinning faster too. You did a video on that. I know like mm-hmm. 4 days before the earth started spinning faster, I had, an issue with severe vertigo and dizziness. I couldn't even catch my balance. So, and I think other people might be experiencing that, and they don't realize it's because they're sensitive to the movement of the earth. But if we say that the earth moves, then that means it's possible that it's a ball, but we're not even going to get into all that. So,
mm-hmm.
Let's get to the book.
Yeah. And the faster I have to go back to this, but the faster the earth spins, the more gravity the heavier the gravity is going to feel, and the more heavier gravity that people are feeling could result to a lot of people being more tired. Like if anybody's listening to this, you feel more tired than you did last year, like you're having really overwhelming bouts of tiredness, it's probably because the earth is speeding up. And it also, when you speed up a cylinder, if it is a cylinder, well, it's a good possibility that it's heating up because it's spinning like a ball bearing or something, and it's getting hotter, and then the sun's also protruding its rays at it and hitting it. So it's just, yeah, things are definitely lining up with this book, 2022, Return of the Anunnaki, because this year is an unbelievable year. Like 2022 is and what's funny is you went in 2021, I said, this is going to be it. It's over. I'm like, the aliens are coming back this year for sure. And you're like, no, I think it's going to be in 2022. And I was like, bollocks. That ain't going to happen. That's happening this year. But I was like, you might be right, though, but whatever. And here we are in 2022.
Yeah, here we are. And, depending on what calendar we go by, which we go by the Gregorian right now, we'll just stick to what we're doing currently as far as like the calendar. I know, because it can be like, well, didn't they manipulate time? I mean, that's a possibility too, but I don't know if it would affect us to be in another or a different year. Because I went back and did a little research on that. Like, what is the world calendar? And some cultures go by different calendars. But anyway, we'll get off of that topic too, because let's get to this book, shall we?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So what part do you want to go over first?
Let's talk about the beginning where you're talking about so I wrote this down to, like, it's almost word for word from this part of the book. So I think this will probably be on that page 197, maybe like somewhere around in there. But in that part, it says the Anunnaki will use a gray glue that appears like burning metal, bark, and rubber. Light from the sun. The light from the sun will be blacked out. It will form around the planet in a cast and destroy all life on Earth. So let's talk about that dark gray glue.
Okay.
To me, that's like the black goo that people have been talking about. I mean, it's just, to me, I find it very bizarre that, people have been recently, the black goo, at least for me, I'm sorry, anybody who's listening to this, maybe you've heard about black goo long before I have, but the black goo thing didn't become very prevalent in this type of, conspiracy theory underground world that I know of, where it became like more of a talked about thing up until recently. Like, we're talking like 8-9 years ago, where people just started talking about, oh, the black goo, this black goo, it's evil and stuff, right? Well, apparently this guy who wrote this book, Maximilian, talked about black goo, the Anunnaki using a black goo to destroy everything on the planet. Although it says dark gray glue, it doesn't say like gray glue or just gray glue. It says dark, the dark gray glue, which could be also considered to be a black goo. What do you think? What did you hear about the black goo?
Like, I heard about black goo by reading this book. So I know I mentioned it to you before, that I didn't think that I think I did another video where I talked about the goo, and I think I said it was some type of gray colored matter. And here it is in this page. Now, I don't read ahead. I like to look at everything from a fresh set of eyes, because, when I'm publishing my readings of the book, it's the same as if, you're listening to it right for the first time. This is my first time reading about it, because I want to have that experience. And it's interesting you mentioned the sun going black, right?
Black hole sun.
So black hole sun. So when the sun opens, potentially, right, as a portal, it will probably have to open completely in order for this black goo to be placed on the Earth. I'm really interested to figure out, like, what kind of substance the black goo is. I think in a previous chapter, it talked about how it has this ability to solidify, and I think it might break down into dust eventually, but I'm just trying to remember that part of the
Yeah,
book.
I remember that part. You're talking about how this goo is supposed to form a crust on the planet, and those people who aren't completely engulfed by it will try to climb it, but they'll find it's extremely slippery. It's going to touch them. It's going to kill them. But for the most part, it's going to cover all the surface of the planet. Maybe not the oceans, but the surface of the planet for sure. And then after so much time, it's just going to turn to dust and just kind of just blow away. And then the Anunnaki are going to replenish the planet. So it's almost like a whole new Earth all over again. That whole song "Promise of a New Day" by Paula Abdul kind of reminds me of that. Although we know she's a Jupiter, and they're talking about taking the planet from you. It's completely different than what this is talking about with the Anunnaki. Please do not get any of your religions confused with the Anunnaki in this book, because they are absolutely 100% polar opposite. The things in the religions, the three main religions, are completely different than the Anunnaki values. Whereas you're allowed to slaughter animals in all three of those religions, all three of them. The Anunnaki find that as a medium contamination. Or was it a heavy? That's heavy contamination. That's death. That's death. That's a heavy contamination. If you are slaughtering an animal for a religious holiday, or you think that you agree that it's okay that they slaughtered animals in any of your religious texts, well, that's considered heavy contamination. Heavy contamination from the standpoint of the Anunnaki in this book, that's complete death for you. That's you get no rebate. You're done. Check, please. It's over, you know.
I hate to cut this short, but I have to go.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.